What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be breaking down how to make hard loops for people like Gunna. I really put a lot of effort into this loop and it's really one of my favorites, so I'm excited to break it down for you. Right, so before I get into how I made anything, this is the loop. So of course the main sound for this one is a guitar, and I'm using this Renaissance guitar within Contact. So for the guitar, as you can see, we're working in G minor, so I've got that scale highlighting on, and every light grey note works in key. So I've just put down the root notes. It goes from the G down to the D, which is just a very typical thing for this Latin guitar. If you just put down a melody or a chord and then go down 5 semitones, it just sounds right. So I've done that and then built chords off of it and kind of arpeggiated the notes, messed around with them, made a little melody, and then I pretty much just put the exact same thing down 5 semitones, and then I repeated it with a little variation of some higher pitched notes up here. I've also strummed the notes just so that they sound a little bit more realistic, and I've also got the velocity here a little bit all over the place just to make it sound a little bit more realistic as well. So altogether that melody sounds like this. And then for the mixing, this is really my go-to list of effects to put on it. So I've got a reverb, a fruity chorus at about 30%, and then I've got an ozone imager where I've just put the width up a little bit, and I've got this fresh air which is used for vocals, but if you put it on a guitar and just turn each of these knobs up, it makes it sound a lot more bright. And I also added RC20 retro color, but it's glitching out and I cannot open it, but it is on there. And then the last two things that I did here was I rendered it out, and when I rendered it out I had the project at 130 BPM, and I've now sped it up to 136, so I just re-stretched it to that time. It just makes it have a vintage feel to it. And since it was in G minor and I wanted it to be in F minor, I just pitched it down twice. So I would recommend you make your guitar melodies 2 semitones above or below what you want it to be, render it out, and then change the pitch back to what you want it to be, and it just gives off a vintage sample sound, and it also makes it sound a lot more realistic. Now for every single guitar, melody or beat that I want to make, I always want to add a flute. The only problem is I don't actually have a good flute in a VST that I like, so if anyone has any recommendations, just please let me know. But I found this flute from Splice. And for the flute, I've got a reverb and I've got an EQ where I take out the low ends, and it is also panned to the left by 15%. So next up, I found this weird accent from Splice while I was looking for the flute. I didn't go on there intending looking for this, but I thought it sounded cool, so I added it in anyway. So as you can see up here, this is the chopped up version that I've made, and at the bottom here is the original. And basically I've just taken out certain parts, reversed them, rearranged them, and then duplicated that over. So this was the original. And after I chopped it up, reversed a little bit and rearranged it, this is what it sounds like. And for the mixing, I've got a fruity reverb, and then I've got the Flutter Clouds preset from Portal where I've turned this down here. And last of all, I've got a fruity chorus at about 50%, and then I panned it to the right by 50%. So the next sound is called Acoustic Drops from Analog Lab 5, which is a bell that when you play down the note for a long time, it keeps on kind of ringing in the background. So all I've done here is follow the same chord progression, and then I've just added a top line on top, and that's what this sounds like. And for this one, I've just got a reverb, and then I've got a fruity chorus and an ozone imager where I've just put the width up a lot just to make it sound very spacious. And this one's turned down quite a lot. This is just so that it's something subtle in the background. Next up, I've added this drama wheel bass from Omnisphere. Next up, I'm using Plucked from Analog Lab 5. And for the mixing, I've added a fruity reverb, chorus, and then I added halftime and left it how it was. And I've also got this EQ which kind of takes out a lot of the lows and a bit of the highs and kind of gives you a little mountain of the frequencies here. And then with halftime it sounds like this. And then I rendered this out, chopped it up, and then put this one here up 7 semitones, which is an octave higher from 5 semitones below. So that is how I made the full loop. I then arranged it into a whole loop here and stemmed it out and then made a beat with it. So let's show the beat. That is how I make my hard loops for people like Gunna. So if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below what kind of stuff you want to see next, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.